It's truly great to see all of you today. Thank you for joining us for our winter meeting. For those who not know me yet, my name is Amjad. Last name is Hidley. I'm a coordinator of New Jersey Community College Technology and Innovation Alliance. We're excited to continue building this momentum under our new organization. As we're fully engaged agenda ahead at this time, it's a pleasure to invite our president of New Jersey Community College Technology and Innovation Alliance, Professor Michael Torito. Go ahead, Michael.
Thank you, Amjad. Hello, everybody. Welcome. Good morning. Thank you for taking time from your Saturday morning to meet with all of us and have this wonderful opportunity to discuss several items on our agenda. And we look forward to having a great meeting with you guys and to getting prepared for the spring meeting to be hosted in person again. So sit back and relax and enjoy over the next 2.5 hours as we go through the agenda. And if you have any questions, certainly let us know. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. So as we continue our first session here, we'll be discussing of the NJCCC General Education Framework. To guide this discussion, I would like to invite Nancy to lead us through this portion of the agenda. Thank you.
Thanks, Amjad. As many of you know, last August, the NJCCC put forth a new proposal for the general education framework for community college associate degrees, and came as a surprise to many of us because there wasn't initially a lot of faculty involvement in the creation of the new categories. And in fact, they now call them essential learning categories. And one of the things that I think has impact to this group that's assembled today is the elimination of the technology category and the folding in of the learning outcomes for technology into the all other categories. The other impact to this group was that the existing tech gen ed classes were then folded into a new category called quantitative reasoning. And so, what I thought we would do, we had a lengthy discussion in our last meeting last semester. And what I thought would be a great idea is just to check in with the different colleges to see what the status is with where it is at your college. What was supposed to happen as per the NJCC timeline was that each college was supposed to share the information with their college and to get feedback from their institution and then provide it back to NJCCC. So many of us were in a meeting that was hosted yesterday by NJCCC, and the person in charge of that group, the Essential Learning Group, Linda Scher, had indicated that she has received our feedback, right? Or at least she has received feedback from colleges, and that, that she was listening. So that she had just like briefly mentioned that. So that was good to hear. But if we could, and I could just start to summarize from CCM's status. And Colleen Carmelli is also on the call. And Colleen Carmelli has been directly involved in the feedback process last semester. So I'll just summarize it, or, and Colleen, if you want to add to anything, but we reached out to our general education committee chair, where at CCM, the way that the feedback was assembled was through that committee. And that committee is a faculty-centered committee with some administrative, non-voting membership in the committee. And each of the different general education categories, the historical ones, have faculty representation on that committee. And so that committee had discussions over a series of meetings and assembled some feedback and actually put together it in a survey form and presented that to our VPAA. And our understanding is that those comments were sent directly to NJCCC without any editorial comment or they were just sent as is. And so that committee, given that it is, it is represented across the different general education areas, different areas have different concerns. And so some of the things that perhaps we as technologists have opinions on, there were different opinions about what we had. So, for example, the fact that computer science and other technology classes were folded into quantitative reasoning. The math professors were not happy with that because that would give students an option to take a computer science class versus a math class. So they were competing interests, I guess, or feedback. But all of that was captured and sent to NJCCC with the expectation that there's going to be another version that is produced. So whether that happens or not, we don't know. And Colleen, I don't know Carleen Kameli, if you have any additional things that you'd like to add to where we're at, but that's where I
Well,
think we're at.
I mean, just, building on what you mentioned, I think there was a huge level of surprise in finding out about these changes, which was a little disappointing that we really didn't have a heads up on any of it. That was the overall feeling on the Gen Ed committee. There was a lot of disagreement on the changes, not only on our side, but definitely on the liberal arts side. It's a pretty wide affected group. Like you said, it's math, it's history. The changes were even, I think, larger than in our area. So we did have a lot of thoughtful discussions. We did, provide the feedback, and the word that we did get is our administration passed it through as it is. So we're just waiting. At this point, we're in a holding pattern until we do hear back, but it is top of mind for us at least because it's such a wide-reaching change. Yeah.
Great. Thank you, Colleen. What I thought I would do next, if you will, just go through the chat of who chimed in from the different colleges, and I'm going to put you on the spot. So hopefully you have a mic, or feel free to drop it in the chat too if you don't want to join us via audio. But I'll just start off with John Rodriguez from Passaic County. If you have any status updates on where things are sitting with your college's review and feedback of the framework.
Sure. Good morning, everyone. John Rodriguez from Passaic County Community College. Sorry, I have a sore throat right now. We're very similar to CCM, in which we have a Gen Ed committee that was very concerned with the changes and no prior feedback. We're also a faculty-centered Gen Ed committee with some administrators, and a lot of the process was shared with the academic council through the Gen Ed committee. And then during committee meetings, we also have representation from every Gen Ed area. So we heard feedback within the committee. We then brought it back to our departments to get their feedback. Then we had a general faculty meeting with our vice president to share the feedback. And this was open to every faculty to attend. It was led by the Gen Ed committee, who also took notes of the feedback. And it was a good discussion. I think a lot of different areas really were able to explain their perspective, and especially in our department, computer information systems, we really talked about how we believe that in an age where technology has such a huge impact in so many areas, that we believe that we shouldn't be lowering the amount of credit. And it was also shared by other faculty that if we were to do technology as um, a spread throughout the different categories, that they might not be very comfortable teaching certain parts of technology as well. So we're also in the waiting stage. Our vice president was going to meet with the others and share the feedback. We took extensive notes during the meeting, and those notes will also be shared.
Great, thanks for sharing that, John. All right, let's move on to SCCCC. I have John Sisler, but and also Bob Reber's on the line from Sussex. So either or one or both of you want to give us a status update with what's happened at Sussex?
Hi, Nancy. Diane Harris has a statement to make regarding Sussex. I believe she is present.
Yes, I'm here, Bob. Thank you.
Okay.
Great, thanks.
I did want to share at Sussex what we're doing is that we don't have that Gen Ed committee, but we have the Faculty Senate, which has been talking about this. So the whole essential learning has been brought to Faculty Senate, where we've had a general discussion. And what we have done is we've put together a subcommittee within our Faculty Senate so that we could focus on the information more specifically. We are drafting a proposal response. We from Sussex have not sent one to our knowledge. Administration has not sent one forward because the Faculty Senate is still working on it. And that's pretty much where we're at right now. We are in our final stages of drafting a response to the proposal. And we're going to go forward once that's finalized through Faculty Senate.
Okay, great. Thank you for that update, Diane.
Thank you.
And then I see we have Raritan Valley Community College on the line too. Comment, John. I don't know if you're able to give us a status update on where your college is. Comment, John. Are you on from Raritan Valley? All right. Anybody else from Raritan Valley can give us an update? Not, we'll move on to Bill Dougherty from Atlantic Cape. Where are things with you, Bill?
Well, nothing further to report other than what my college, I guess, was the first to be presented with this, and I brought it to our group's attention, and that's kind of what I feared, is that they said, okay, so all this year we're going to be getting feedback. I thought there'd be follow-up meetings. I thought there would be some mechanism in place to capture feedback and gather the data to be, looked at and decisions made by. But that hasn't happened. And the faculty really is, because of so many competing priorities, it really hasn't come up. And it's, probably an issue with a lot of colleges, but at my college, where a lot of faculty are, concerned with burnout, with being overburdened with so many other things. Matter of fact, one meeting, I said, I miss teaching. And what I meant by that was, I used to be able to spend, 70, 80% of my time prepping and professional development and really focusing on the classroom. And now there's just so much other stuff. And it kind of reminds me of K through 12. You know, my wife kind of got out. She retired early a few years ago because it was just so much other stuff other than what she got into the profession for, which she loved. So, yeah, all these competing priorities, nobody's really mentioned anything at all of our meetings. It's never come up. And from the other side, the administration hasn't done anything either. So that's why I'm curious today to hear what the other colleges are saying because it's pretty much at a standstill. And I fear that this will just all just happen. They'll say, well, we gave you the opportunity for feedback. We told you this was going to happen, and threw the ball in our court, and basically that was the end of it. And the ball kind of bounced out of bounds and rolled under a tree and was forgotten.
So it doesn't sound like, Bill, from your college that there was a formal response made,
No,
documented. It just was that meeting.
nope.
That was
Nothing,
it.
nothing to follow up after that meeting, and that was early, very early in the semester. I think it was
Yeah.
our,
Well,
our
you were the one that
in-service.
alerted it, the rest of the group to it. So yeah, you were the
So
first one up.
it's a little
Hmm.
disappointing.
That is, yeah.
And I again after this meeting, I'll take some notes here and try to stir it back up and say, all right, what's going on here? But then when I get to my desk on Monday and I have to prioritize, I'll fall into that same thing of like, I got all these other fires to put out.
Right.
So anyway, I can't, there's no update really from Atlantic.
Okay. All right. Thank you, Bill. So if I don't have anybody else in the chat that said where they're from, and let me just see if I can identify just by going through the group.
Hi, Nancy.
Oh, there you are, Nick. Go ahead, Nick. Let us know what's happening
How are
at
you?
Middlesex. Good.
Good morning, everybody. Nice to see all of you here today. Give you a quick update. I'm not going to repeat what you've already heard today. Middlesex did send a first round response from the faculty several months back when we first saw the initial proposal. And basically, we indicated that we thought the rearrangement of the credits was not what we thought was the best choice. And just to mention something I heard earlier, it's not just one area of the realignment of the gen ed credits that has people concerned. It is the liberal arts people, it's the technology people, it's the STEM people. So that's really important. This could impact a lot of people in a lot of different ways. And I do think that it is going to be readdressed again because of a couple of reasons. One, first of all, we were supposed to have this in place. The New Jersey Council of Community Colleges was supposed to have this in place, and they wanted us to originally implement this for fall 2026. Obviously, that's not happening because we're already putting out this fall 2026 master schedules for students to register. So that's not happening. So we know that. Last date I heard at a meeting I was at is now the goal is to implement this fall 2027. And the idea is that this year is our opportunity as colleges to respond now before the school year is over with what our thoughts are. So, Bill, I understand what you said about having, priorities and so on, but I do know, having all the years I have in education, if we don't speak up now, there's a very good likelihood we're not going to get to speak up later. So I don't know whether you want to mention that to the powers that be on your side there. And to everybody else, I don't mean to pick on you, Bill. You spoke last. So, John, same thing for you. I heard that you've got, activities going on. At Middlesex, we are looking at this again because of the proposed changes and what is now happening. And Nancy, you already mentioned this a little earlier. You had a conversation with, you heard from Linda Scher. I was at this meeting too yesterday that Nancy's referring to. It was a great meeting, by the way. And that's a whole nother issue here. The meeting yesterday, folks, focused on AI literacy and the use of AI. I think the powers that be in the New Jersey Council of Community Colleges realizes how important AI is going to impact all of us and the role it's going to play and the need for people to understand technology. And one of the things Linda did say, Nancy, I don't know whether you were there at the time because I didn't look around the room. I believe you were. Linda did say at the very end of the meeting, she said, looks like we're going to readdress the technology component again. She didn't say it was already decided, but apparently there's been enough feedback. So whoever sent in their responses, it did make a difference. That's my point. Okay, so this is our chance to speak up. I cannot emphasize that enough. So everybody from all your colleges that you're representing here today, I sure hope that when this meeting is over, between now and the next several work days, that you say something, email somebody, get people aware of the fact that, hey, tomorrow's March 1st. You've got 3 months basically, if you want to do something collectively as a team, to get a response back to this council. Because once the semester's over, we all know there's not a whole lot that goes on in many of the colleges from this perspective, that what's being addressed by faculty and so on. So if you have something you want to share or say, it's really important that we speak up now. We have the opportunity, and the council could say, hey, you had a whole academic year to speak up if you wanted to. And I do think they're going to hold us to that at this point. So again, I know I'm repeating myself a little bit, but I cannot emphasize the importance of the fact that they heard us and they're willing to listen. And from the meeting that we went to yesterday, I had a really good feeling that the people who are running all the council and so on understand the need for technology. There were so many things presented yesterday about why it's so important, why there needs to be an understanding of it. And I have a weird feeling that that base number of credits that the gen ed credits have been lowered to, I have a weird feeling they're going to go up a little again. I could be wrong. They might go up like maybe 3 credits, but I also think they may just realign that whole MST bucket. You know, how many credits of math, how many science, how many technology, and so on, and the importance of at least one technology course, because the one technology course could be a computer applications course. It could be an AI literacy course. It could be a basic programming course, whatever your school feels that it needs. But the point is, folks, we talk about it amongst ourselves, but we have to make this known to the people who basically are driving what we do as a college. So I encourage all of you to please talk now the next several weeks. I'm assuming you're all going to have a March department meeting of some type. Please bring it up. Please talk about it. Make it a priority on the agenda. Please don't put it at the end of the agenda, because it may impact what you're teaching people in case you don't realize it. If this goes through, a whole bunch of your literacy classes could potentially go away. Even some of your other courses could go away, because when people start realigning the buckets, your schedule may look very different in a year. So this is the time where you have the opportunity to say something. So I encourage all of you, everybody in the room, and I do this with people who work in my department too. We talk it out at department meetings. So please do so. Okay? How'd I
Thanks,
do,
Nick.
Nancy?
You did good. Thanks, Nick. I see Mina's from Bergen had popped in the chat what is going on in Bergen. And so it looks like the end result is that there is a feedback link that is that all faculty, Minas, that can, yes, to all faculty to
To all
provide
faculty,
feedback.
yes. Yeah, at the faculty conference, a link was sent to all the faculty, and they could go in and fill out that form with their feedback.
Great. That's great. That's a good approach. And then what is the plan after that, after they get to the feedback? Is that going to then be filtered to the VPAA and then
The
to the
VPAA
council?
gave that link.
Oh, okay.
He gathered all of the feedback, and he said at their next meeting he would give it to them, I guess. So that's a Google Doc. So I guess he could email it to them as here's the
Oh,
college's feedback,
okay.
I suppose. I don't know what that next step would be from his
Okay.
end.
All right. Great. Thank you for that.
Yep.
Any other colleges on the call that have any updates? Okay.
May I ask a question, Nancy?
Yes.
I'd like to ask everybody in the room if there have been discussions about this at your school. Has any school here not had discussions about this?
Hi, Nancy. I'm Shelley Dean. I'm from Rowan College of South Jersey, and we were told we were supposed to have discussions, but that's not happening. The fire at Rowan College right now is we're up for middle states accreditation, so all the focus is going there, and this topic has just been pushed or shoved to the side.
Mhm.
Oh, okay.
Is it possible to bring this up on as an agenda item in the next couple months? Because basically, again, we've got 3 months really before it's decided. So I encourage anyone who hasn't had this opportunity to get this dialogue started, please do so. This, your input could add on to the fact that they could say, hey, X number of colleges said this. And now if the number grows, it's going to show a bigger impact that the colleges are displaying to this committee. When one or two people speak up, it doesn't have as big an impact when a larger group speaks up. So I encourage everybody to please do something about this. Say something, even if you send a simple letter saying, we agree with this, but we'd like to see this, increased. And, you don't have to go into a multi-page dialogue, but something, short that indicates your feelings will make a difference. Was that way the New Jersey Council of Community Colleges could say, hey, we heard from X number of our 18 colleges. So I think that could have an impact. So I understand about middle states. We've started our process too. So I feel your pain. So, the more the better.
Yeah, Nick, I definitely agree with you. It has been brought up to our faculty senate. It is certainly a topic that they're aware of, but feedback from the other side is basically, I guess we're being told that we still have time to discuss it.
Well, I'm sorry, I don't know your first name. I see S.
I'm
Dean.
I'm Shelley, Nick.
Oh, Shelley, hi.
Hi, Nick.
One last comment, Shelley, that I'll make. Like I said, we have 3 months basically to say something, and I will tell you right now, the faculty at Middlesex sent their own letter. So the faculty senate at your school could potentially say something too, in my mind. So, it doesn't have to be from everyone, if you understand what I'm saying.
Right.
I think it would have better weight if if the administration responded, and we're doing that too. We are putting together a response that includes the administration. That was in our first draft. But I also know that the faculty also sent their own thoughts to the people that they know, especially since Linda Scher is listening right now to all these thoughts, and she is collecting information. So it was a good time to speak up.
And where are you sending this information, Nick?
To Linda Scher's office.
Okay.
Do you have Linda's email?
I don't believe I do, no.
Okay, I will put it in the chat in a moment.
Thank you.
But I do suggest that if anybody's going to send an email, that you just, think it out carefully, because the email will probably come up at some of their meetings, just so you know. Okay, I'm all right, and I will put the email up as the meeting continues.
All right, great, thank you. Any other updates from, or lack of updates from other colleges? Okay. So speaking of getting feedback, oh wait, okay. Okay, he sent that. So thank you, Nick, for sending that. So Linda
I was just
Scher's
going to ask,
email
you
is
could
in
see
the
it?
chat.
Okay, great.
Yep, see it. And then what I'd like to say, because we've talked about this before, and it's something that we've done as an organization in the past in our former life as the 4Cs. And that is to draft a letter from our organization to the NJCCC, and putting forth our position from our perspective. And I'd like to propose that we do that. And I think we've discussed this before, And I was initially hesitant to do that right away just because it was a lot like there were so many changes for me personally. It was hard to digest and hard to formulate what I think, from our point of view, is our position on this. But how are others feeling as far as us drafting a letter indicating our position of, and let me just presume what I think our position is, that we do not support the elimination of a technology category and in the infusing of those learning outcomes into the other categories. So maybe we can, I don't know if I was trying to figure out a way to do the poll, and I know Amjad was trying to, Amjad, I still don't have it. I think I probably would have to drop out and come back in to get it as a capability on my end. But do we want to do it as a thumbs up, or if you would be supportive of the idea of us sending a letter to the NJCCC, and of course I would draft it with input from folks and get feedback from everyone. Okay, I see a lot of thumbs up. Anybody opposed to it? Speak out or drop it in the chat. All right, yeah, I think it's time for us to put it together. And like I said, I'd be happy to create an initial draft, and I'll share it with our membership for feedback. That's something I can do over the next couple weeks and get that out to everybody. And
Hey,
definitely,
Nancy,
yeah.
last time this happened to go around, we had backup from outside organizations, advisory councils, people in the industry, et cetera, other associations. I think that may go a long way if we can do that again, if we can get some input from outside organizations that support our cause.
Yeah, if I recall, the outside organizations, I believe we had an ACM support. We had ACM support. And maybe we can pursue that avenue. In particular, the community college arm of the ACM might be good. Anybody have any other suggestions of other organizations that would be in alignment of our position?
I think locally for our colleges, we have an advisory board that meets once a year, and it's coming up on the schedule. And I'll make the suggestion to put that on the agenda. So it doesn't have to be a state or a national organization. It could be something county wide also.
Okay. The only problem.
Is anybody having an advisory board meeting in the next month or so at their school for us, for the technology and all of comp sci and so on? Because it would be great if we could document something like that, saying that it was discussed and this was the industry's feeling at the time.
Yeah, hi, Nancy, it's Bob again. Yeah, we're due to have one in May.
Yeah, we would probably hope to do this sooner than that.
Well, I could probably do it at the end of April. It hasn't been scheduled yet. Okay.
And Colleen Bamford, I believe, is on the line from CCM. I know that we usually have one scheduled.
Ours is at the end of April, like the last Friday of April. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I'm wondering if we could just, is it something that we could, whether or not we have a meeting or not, we could send an email to our advisory board members soliciting feedback? Is that something that colleges could do in advance of a meeting?
I think we could possibly do that, especially since we usually put out a save the date kind of thing prior to the meeting, just to give people a heads up of when it's going to happen.
Okay. All right, what I can do is suggest when I, send an email out to folks after the end of this meeting, I can have that as a to-do item for colleges to solicit feedback from their advisory boards if they're able to, and to get us the feedback so I can use it to incorporate it in the letter if we can. So let's go that route.
Hi everyone. Sorry, but someone came by the house and the dogs were going nuts, so I missed a large part of this last discussion about the NJCCTIA sending a letter. So Nancy, can you just summarize it for me
yeah.
and when we
Sure.
think that's going to happen?
Yeah, so I think the time is right for us to write a response to the proposal from our organization, similar to what we've done in the past in our former life as the Four Cs when this came about a few years ago. And so folks seem supportive of that idea with a bunch of thumbs up. I'm assuming you would be supportive of that, Michael, as well. And what I am proposing that I volunteer to draft the letter and send it around for feedback and approval by the organization. And then Bill raised the point that the previous feedback that we gave was incorporated outside organizations. So I know that we had asked the ACM to provide feedback and support of our position. And then Bill also suggested that we reach out to our advisory boards and get their feedback and incorporate that into our response.
All right, excellent. I think all of that is very important. And I think that it would be in our best interests as an organization to absolutely respond. So I'm glad to hear that this is something that everybody's in support of.
And Nancy, I was just thinking too that maybe you could come up with some sort of a survey polling kind of thing for everyone, with a link that you can send to everyone so that all of the data comes back to you, that we don't have to report it back. You know what I mean? Like it could come back
Yeah.
to the organization instead of to the chairs directly, and then we have to send it back to you. So
That's a
that could
great
be
idea.
a good thing to be able to do. And that'll make it easy for us to be able to send it out too, so that
Definitely.
we have the messaging correctly and consistent.
That's a great idea. Thank you.
So the document will be sent to obviously Linda Shear. Last time we sent it to all the college presidents also. I'm inclined to think that'd be a good idea again, unless somebody has other thoughts on that.
And the VPAAs too.
Right, that's what I was
Right.
going to suggest. If we send it to the president, let's also send it to the vice presidents of academic affairs. That way they both get it.
Yeah, that's great.
The other thought I had, just to piggyback what was said earlier about ACM, does anybody in this room belong to any other professional societies linked to what we do for a living? Maybe we can get them some feedback, or from them, I should say.
How about that Big Data Alliance, Nick?
That's one of the ones that popped in my head. We have a meeting. What's today? Next Friday, first Friday of March. No, second Friday of March, 13th. So, and I will be there, so I can bring this up. And so, yeah, as a matter of fact, I will definitely make.
Does anybody have any IEEE contacts?
Yeah, and this doesn't have to just be a general, big, large organization. This could be a focused area too. Like if we have somebody in here who has professional societies that focus on just cybersecurity, just information systems, just other technologies and so on. I think all that input could be helpful. Oh, what is that? The CSTA, John. That's what I was thinking of too. Computer Science Teachers Association. Is anybody in that? I'm a member, but I haven't been to a meeting in well over a year. Does anybody belong to the Computer Science Teachers Association, CSTA? Because I'm sure they have input too to this. Okay.
I'm wondering if we've in the past had any support from the four-year colleges.
We did not reach out to them.
And I'm going to say I talked with Ramapo, NGIT, and Rutgers at our data science night, and they had not heard anything of this going on when I spoke with them. They had no knowledge of these changes going forward, which I was like, wait a second, it's going to affect our transfer to you all. Like,
Right.
how is that
Yeah,
going
so-
to, how come you're not being involved in this conversation?
Mm.
And so, yeah, so and then they literally said to me, don't send it to me. I don't want to know anything. So it cracked me up. So I was like, all right, well, you'll find out on your own, I guess.
Colleen, what were those three schools again, please?
It was Rutgers, NGIT, and Ramapo.
Ramapo. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Is there any organization statewide for the four-year colleges in New Jersey?
The closest thing to it that I'm aware of is the New Jersey Big Data Alliance, which is a combination of four-year and two-year colleges now. Some of us in this room are members of that committee. I am one of them, and I will bring this up again next week. That's why I asked Colleen what school she had mentioned, because I want to see if they're at the meeting next week and if anything new has transpired with any of the four-year colleges, if anybody's heard anything. So we can take it from there. But I don't believe, because I remember the NJBDA, New Jersey Big Data Alliance, one of the leaders of that group did say that the NJBDA is the only group that has the membership from both the two-year and the four-year schools. So I think this is a good place to bring this up and get people talking. And we do have part of the meeting dedicated to education and training, and I'm actually the vice president of that at the NJBDA. So I will put this on my agenda for next week. I should say the 13th. I don't want to rush March. It's already here tomorrow.
So, Colleen, there's that department chair meeting that I think they were trying to reactivate that. Is that still happening?
We have met the last 2 years in the summer in July.
Okay.
So, yeah, so I mean, at that point, we had no knowledge of this going on because it was July, the last time
Right.
we met. And so we probably won't meet. I'm actually thinking I'm probably going to host the next one at County College of Morris. I volunteered. So we'll see if that happens. I don't know. I haven't heard from Jim Geller. He's usually the one who organizes that event.
Yeah, so those that don't know, that is all the chairpersons from community college. And does he have the other 4 years there as well?
Yeah,
Right?
so it's all 4 year and it's all colleges in New Jersey, computer science or computing chairs. Yep.
What is the name of that committee, Colleen?
I don't know if it has a name, but I think it's just the New Jersey Computer Science Chairs meeting. Like it's just a chairs group that we all get together and have a discussion about things that are going on in departments and, things like that. Transfer stuff, articulation. We were talking a lot about that, talking obviously a lot about AI the last meeting. We were at the AI hub in Princeton the last meeting. So it was kind of interesting. Yeah.
Right.
So they have a couple of people come in and talk about some things that could be effective to our colleges, and then we have a lunch. We have breakfast and lunch together, basically. So it's like a little gathering of chairs. So
That's an ideal group, target audience.
Yeah.
Right.
This.
Yeah. Colleen, I
Um,
have an idea. Please tell me if you like the idea or not.
Yeah.
Would it be a positive idea for you to email this group and say, we are discussing the technology requirements in Gen Ed over, that are currently being proposed? Are we collectively going to generate any kind of response or letter or anything to share with the New Jersey Council of County Colleges? Maybe just to ask if there was a plan to generate a response or provide feedback or something. Just a quick email saying, is anybody doing anything? Or do you think we, as this collective group that you're part of, Colleen, want to say something?
I mean, I can obviously send something, Nick. That's not a problem. I just don't know if it's a majority of the people there were 4 years. So I don't know if they even know about it from my conversations that I already had with them.
Yep.
And Jim Geller was the person that I spoke with from NJIT at the data science night that we had. So, and that was in November. They had no awareness of this at all. And then Scott Fries is from Ramapo. He was there as well. So, but I don't remember who else is in the group, and I don't remember which community colleges were represented when I was there. So, have to go look at the email to see who's all the names that are in there. That was in July. So when you see people once a year, sometimes it doesn't keep the memory of who
Right. No, I understand. No, I was just thinking that if nothing else, perhaps just another letter saying that, where that group stands.
Yeah. I mean, I can
That way
reach out
there's
to them and
another
find
letter
out.
for Linda to
Yep.
look at and say, okay, we can consider this now too.
Yeah. I certainly can reach out to them, and maybe, some of them will be like, well, we don't know anything about it. And then maybe I can we can send some materials
Right.
to them. Yeah.
Exactly. That's what
So,
I'm hoping, is get people aware, because unfortunately, if this information is not shared to everybody who is in the right room at the right time in the right place, a lot of things go on that we don't all know about until after it's done.
right.
I still have colleagues at my college who say to me, what's going on with Gen Ed? Because they're not involved directly with it. So, sometimes if they don't come to certain meetings, they don't hear about it.
Agreed.
Okay, thank you all for your feedback and updates, and you'll be seeing something from me in the next couple weeks about our response and a link to a poll and all that kind of stuff. So I think
Thank you, Nancy. By the way, I know this is a lot of work on your part. Believe me, I understand. So thank you so much for coordinating all this.
Sure, no problem.
Nancy's been doing a lot. Actually, Nancy, Amjad, they've been doing a lot for us, folks, for those who didn't know it. And, I think they all deserve a pat on the back, between Nancy, Rob, Amjad, Michael, they've been doing a lot behind the scenes for us, folks.
And so has Nick, so thank you. Yeah, so I think we're at the next agenda item time frame. So I'm gonna pass it off. I think it goes to Michael next.
Yes. So thank you, Nancy, and thank you, everyone. So we'll move into NJCCT business meeting. At this time, I will turn it back to our president, Michael. So, Michael, you can take it over.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
Sorry, I don't have the agenda up in front of me right now. Can you display it on the screen, please?
Sure.
Okay, thank you. So I hope everybody has had an opportunity to take a look at the website for the NJCCTIA and at the documents that we posted out there for the mission statement, the Constitution, and the bylaws. We did ask at the last meeting in fall for all of you to take a look at that because we'd like to have a vote among the constituency to approve the mission statement and the Constitution and the bylaws and or make recommendations if you feel that anything needs to be changed. So does anyone have anything to comment on either of those documents at this point in time? Okay, so then by I guess a show of thumbs up in the participants list, let's discuss about approving the mission statement. Those in favor of approving, please thumbs up. I think these thumbs disappear on their own. Nancy, were you able to keep track at all this way? Or maybe we should have everybody comment in the chat group.
Yeah, maybe, yeah, that's what I was trying to create a poll, just
Because
like
I'm
recording.
noticing that that the thumbs are disappearing, and I don't think any of us are manually doing that.
I
Or
think
perhaps just now do number of abstentions, number of disapprovals. I can't think of the right word.
Michael, if they put hands up, like a raised hand, that stays in place where the thumbs go, it just, the emotions go away after a little while. So if you wanted to put
Okay.
hands up, that
All
would
right,
be
all right.
a
That
better.
sounds, yes, thank you. That sounds like a good idea. So let's change this to hands up if you're in approval. Now, where the heck is that on my screen?
Reaction.
Yeah, I'm looking for
It's
it.
at the top. It's above all the other ones. When you open the little window.
Oh, there, raise hand. It's not at the top for me. It's weird.
Okay.
Mine's at the bottom.
Yeah. All right, any others before we move on to nays? I think I count 12, including myself, for hands up.
13.
14, 15, 16.
Yeah.
I just saw 2 thumbs up. So 16 total. 16, and then I just heard another beep. Let's say 16 in approval. And now let's lower the hands, please. There should be a way for us to administratively do this, but I don't have control over the meeting, so I don't think I can do that.
This will get done. You're almost, just. All right, so Bill and Amjad, your hands are up still? I think Bill had to step away.
Okay, Bill's hand is down now. All right, those not in favor of the mission, please raise your hand at this time. Okay, I don't see anybody responding to this. So we'll move on. Any abstains from voting? And I did see that John Machusky is abstaining in the chat. John, regardless of the fact that you haven't paid the due yet, you did come to the meeting, so we
Right.
would accept you as a member of the organization if you would still like to vote.
Sounds good. I vote yes.
Okay. If there are no further abstains, then the record shows that 16 members in attendance voted yes. We had no noes and no abstains. So the mission is approved. All right, moving on to the Constitution. Those of you who are in favor of the Constitution, please raise your hand at this time. Okay, once again, we have 16 for yes. Place your hands down, please. While I'm waiting for the hands to be put down, with the prior yes of John Machusky, I believe that brought it to 17 before on the mission. John, are you also in approval on the Constitution?
Yes.
Okay, then I think we're at 17 on that as well. Anyone not in approval on the Constitution, please raise your hand. Okay, anyone abstaining from voting on the Constitution? Okay, 17 members voting yes, no noes, no abstains. The Constitution passes. On the matter of the bylaws, please raise your hand if you are in support of the bylaws. We have one thumbs up in the chat. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18. 18 total, yes, in support of the bylaws. Put your hands down, please. Those not in favor of the bylaws, please raise your hands. Those abstaining from vote, please raise your hands. Okay, we have 18 in favor of the bylaws, no person noting no, and no person abstaining. So the bylaws pass as well. Thank you very much for your votes on those three matters. Okay. Moving on to the next agenda item, the new website overview and privacy policy. We asked you also to please take a look at the privacy policy and let us know your thoughts on that. If you think it looks good as it's written, if you think it needs to be tweaked or rewritten in some way, shape, or form, if there's anything on there that you don't particularly like, that you'd like to see removed. So I'm going to open the floor up for discussion on this item.
I dropped in the chat a link to the privacy policy.
I don't see that link, Nancy. Oh, wait a minute. Yep, now I do. From Amjad. And maybe since Amjad, you're sharing your screen at this point in time, maybe just even show the privacy policy on the screen at this time, please. Okay. So this is the privacy policy. As it is written right now, it states we are a private membership-based nonprofit organization comprised of members from the New Jersey State Community Colleges, its textbook publishers, and other professional and technological organizations that align with the mission of the NJCCTIA. We do not sell our membership list to any outside organizations. Your information as a member of this organization will only be shared with the executive board members of NJCCTIA, the textbook publishers upon request, and approval of an appropriate board member and our sponsor technology organizations upon request and approval of an appropriate board member. Information will only be shared in accordance with our mission statement to the organizations that are sponsors of our meetings and to the extent that it supports a specific meeting where a representative from their organization was present. Only members in attendance at the meeting will be subject to information sharing with these organizations. Our full membership list will not be furnished. Such organizations may include, but not be limited to, Cengage Learning, Pearson Higher Education, McGraw-Hill Higher Education, Jones and Bartlett Learning, Zybooks, and CompTIA. By attending any of our meetings, you agree to be included in the sharing of our membership attendance list upon request and board approval. If you wish to opt out of being included in our membership attendance list for any particular meeting, you must indicate this in writing on our attendance sheet at each event. There will be a column for opt out on the attendance sheet. Please note, you may not opt out of communications that come directly from the New Jersey Community College Technology and Innovation Alliance while you are an active member, associate member, or lifetime member of our organization. We retain the right to contact you as necessary for our organization purposes so that we may share relevant information about our organization with you. If you would like to be removed from membership and have your contact information permanently removed from our list, please contact the corresponding secretary via email. You can find the contact information on our current officers page. We will process your removal as a member, but please understand that we cannot refund any membership dues that have been paid to date. This privacy policy is subject to modification at any time without advance notice, as deemed necessary by the current executive board. New information regarding any changes to this policy will be posted here on this page. And this was last modified September 29th, 2025 at 12:12 a.m. And I think that a talking point that happened within the executive board ourselves about this was just to make sure that the organization feels comfortable, particularly with the attendance lists potentially being shared with publishers upon request. So I'd like to at least open the floor to discussion on that item because everything within this privacy policy is subject to review and approval today. Okay, I don't see any activity in the chat window. I don't hear anyone raising any concerns about the privacy policy. I'll give it a few more seconds. Okay. Having not heard any feedback regarding modification of the privacy policy at this point in time, let's put the privacy policy to a vote. All in favor, please raise your hand. Okay, I count 16 in favor of the privacy policy. Please lower your hand. Okay, anyone not in favor of the privacy policy, please raise your hand at this time. Okay, anyone abstaining from voting on the privacy policy, please raise your hand. Okay, let the record reflect that 16 have voted yes in favor of the privacy policy. We have 0 no's and 0 abstains. The privacy policy, as it is printed on the website at this point in time, has passed. All right, thank you very much for your participation in voting on the new organization processes for the NJCC TIA. And at this point in time, that brings us to the treasurer's report. And so I'm going to turn control over to Bob Reber, please.
Good morning, everyone. Yes, our current balance in our account is $2,492.29. That's as of January 30th, 2026. All right. The organization does welcome new membership or renewed membership. You can find the application and forms on our website, with the directions. Okay, thank you. I'll turn it back to Mike or Nancy now.
All right, thank you. So as you may remember from the last meeting in the fall, as a new organization, we would like to start strong and have a full executive board. In the past, we have had trouble maintaining the position of recording secretary. As you know, I'm the president of the organization, but I will be outgoing at the end of this year as Amjad steps up to the presidency because he is president-elect and program coordinator at this point in time. Robert Reber, I believe, is still on board for maintaining position as the treasurer for now, and I believe Nancy is on board for maintaining position as the corresponding secretary at this point in time, unless I am incorrect about any of that. Okay. And so the one position that we have not filled yet that is open still is the recording secretary position. And then for next year, we'll need a new president-elect as well. So at this point in time, I'm going to open up the floor to any nominations for recording secretary for the NJCC TIA. Whether you're nominating yourself or someone else from your organization.
Michael, can you give an overview of what the recording secretary does?
Well, it should be in our constitution, and basically the recording secretary is responsible for attending all meetings of the general committee and all executive board meetings and taking notes of the meetings and sharing those notes with the executive board so that it can be shared out with the rest of the organization, whether through our website or through an email or whatever the case may be. Nancy, do you have anything else that you feel we need to elaborate on with that?
No, yeah, the recording secretary, yeah, just documents the meeting notes and then shares the corresponding secretary, which has been my role for many years, is the email correspondence.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah, and so if I could just add, as far as the nominations go, even if it's not something that the members on the call today would be available for. If you have other faculty members in your departments, in particular, maybe some of the newer faculty members where you think it might be a good person for the position or it would be beneficial for their promotion packages, please let us know if you want to just give us their name and we can reach out to them. There's no commitment. And just also just as a follow-up, if anybody else wants more information, we're happy to talk to you about what the role involves, and if I could also speak, as an experienced executive officer, uh, it's not a huge time commitment. So it just takes, a couple hours here and there over the course of the semester. So it's really not a huge commitment. And I think we all find value in this organization, and the organization can even be better with other colleges getting involved in the executive officer roles. One of the things that we have proposed is that we do like a rotating kind of uh, involvement with the various colleges around New Jersey. So, and the commitment, doesn't have to be long. I think and correct me if I'm wrong, when you are agreeing to serve on the executive officer committee, it's not a lifelong commitment like it has been for me. But it's just that no one else has stepped up and to take over the roles, which is not really the intention of the organization to do that. So I think it's just 2-year commitment. I think treasurer is a 3-year commitment. Program officer is a 2-year commitment because or the program coordinator is a 2-year commitment because you start out as president-elect and then become president. So it could just be a 2-year commitment. It doesn't have to be a 20-year plus commitment like it has been for me.
Nancy, you do it so well, though.
Or probably a 10-year commitment for me. Feels like 10 years. And also, we're not voting on this today. We are going to vote on this in our spring meeting. And so we're asking for nominations today so that we can collect those nominations and be prepared for a vote at the spring meeting if need be. Okay. And
Keep
while
in
we're
mind, folks, that we have AI tools that will help you record what goes on at the meetings and so on. So it's not like you have to sit there and take feverish notes anymore. But
Yeah.
I would hope that if we are going to use an AI tool, whoever's going to take on this small responsibility, that they would at least review those notes that come up, make sure that it's accurate and that there's no gaps and so on and so on. So you have even less to be concerned about as far as time commitments.
Yes.
Now with Nancy, she still has to go through all that work of communicating with everybody and all the emails and everybody. Nancy's got the brunt of all of the roles here that are similar.
Yeah. And so while we're waiting for other people to potentially nominate themselves for this, I will nominate myself since I'm outgoing as the president, in case we don't have any other nominations by the time spring comes.
That's very nice, Michael. If you need a second, I second that nomination if we're doing that.
Okay, thank you.
For which position, Michael?
For recording secretary,
Okay.
not for president-elect.
I wanted to be clear.
I want to have a little bit of a break. Al, we don't need a nomination for president at this time, but thank you.
But I do second that. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, he automatically he's a shoe-in for next year.
Going to be a landslide.
Jed, do I hear you nominating someone for something?
I think I should nominate Al.
Uh-huh.
Nominate Al for what?
What do you want to do, Al? Let
Did
us
I hear
know.
president-elect?
I think there's another conversation going on behind the scenes here.
I don't mind. I could volunteer to help you guys out. But I remember I was talking to Nancy and she said she would like to have other community colleges
Yeah, I mean,
involved.
ideally, it would be great to get other community college representation going on.
Exactly.
So that it doesn't feel like this is just a one college or two college committee. We
Yeah.
certainly don't want it to feel like that for the membership. Okay,
Yes.
John Paul Rodriguez is nominating himself for recording secretary.
Oh, good. That's nice.
All right, and so that we can move the meeting along, I'm going to say for other nominations, if you'd like to nominate yourself or nominate a colleague, please feel free to send an email to Nancy so that we can record this and handle it accordingly. All right, any questions in regards to the nominations? Oh, and by the way, also president-elect, any nominations for president-elect, please send them to Nancy as well. All right, and so I believe that brings us down to the last item of the business meeting, which is the spring meeting. We would like to get a sign up going for moving forward with having other colleges host the meetings. So are there any colleges in attendance that would like to volunteer to host a meeting in the near future?
Michael, I am working on getting April 17th in person at Middlesex College in Edison, New Jersey.
Great. I
I'm
figured
working.
that's why I asked.
Yeah, it's happening.
also
And
for the
based
future.
upon the fact that Colleen earlier said that you have an advisory board meeting or something on the 24th, the 24th would be my second choice if I can't get any room available on the 17th. I'm having a problem right now getting a room the right size and right equipment in there. So I think I'll get it, but
Okay.
so first choice that I'm working on is Friday, April 17th at Middlesex College in Edison. Second choice would be Friday, April 24th, since I don't want to overlap on other meetings, because I'm guessing that some of you have to attend that meeting at the advisory board and so on. So, it'd be nice to have everybody come when we can have everybody together, because I think these meetings are important and fruitful. I get a lot out of these meetings.
Yes.
And Nick,
Thank you.
just so you're aware, if you have to flip it that way, I right now it's a tentative date, so we could always flip it the other way if we have to. I just didn't want to do, because we have open house on the 18th, and I didn't want to do the advisory meeting and then open house. So I was trying to avoid that. But I can certainly, switch that up if we need to accommodate so that we can make sure we can have the meeting at Middlesex.
Thank you, Colleen, because I
yes,
did
I just would
actually
need
put
to
the
know, I would
24th
need to
down.
know really quick, before the end of March, if that's the case.
Oh, I should know by the end of this week coming because I have been emailing back. We have a director of event planning now. We have these forms and everything else. So we've been going back and forth. Dawn, did you say something? No, I think we're okay. All right. So I'll keep you all posted. As soon as I know, I'll let you all know because I have been going back and forth with space. And the issue is also I'm trying to avoid one area that has horrible acoustics in it. So I'm trying to, because I also want to make it a room that if we project and so on, it's readable, it sounds good and so on. So that's what I'm working on.
Michael, our advisory board meeting will be remote and will most likely be an evening, a 5 o'clock to say, around 6
Okay.
p.m. meeting. Okay. And it won't be on a Friday, so that won't impact you at all.
All right, great.
Okay.
Oh, that's good. That's good news. Yeah.
All right. So
I'll
it
keep you
seems
all posted. I'm aiming for April 17th as the first choice, folks, and the 24th as the second choice, just so you all know.
Thank you so much, Nick. So
You're
it seems
welcome.
like for the spring meeting, we're good to go, but we'd like to start out of the gate strong for fall of next year and hopefully spring as well. Are there any host colleges in the meeting today that can volunteer to host one of those meetings next year? And of course, we can bring the winter meeting to a college in person as well if you'd like.
Years ago, we actually had one meeting that a company, actually, no, two companies who were technology companies had us there for a meeting. They actually hosted the meeting for us, which was very nice as we got to see some new hardware. We got to talk to some people who work directly with students. They hired graduating students and so on. So does anybody here have an industry contact that would be willing to host a meeting? That's always something to consider too.
Al, didn't you do something last semester with your students at a local technology company?
Yeah, I believe Hanwha Vision would gladly host us. They're located in Teaneck, New Jersey. They have like a classroom setup, enough to host almost like 40 people. They have like 40 chairs with desks, so and they have a projector, a board, and everything. And then they have a cafeteria located just right next to it.
Okay.
So
What
yeah,
company
that
is
could be arranged. That could be arranged.
Hanwha Vision.
Yeah.
We've also hosted meetings at Rutgers, I know, in the past.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if we've done any other 4 years, but that might be another avenue.
We did an NJIT meeting many years ago, if I remember correctly, Nancy, when you and I were flipping back and forth,
Okay.
with our titles here.
Okay,
Does
so
anybody have a contact at NJIT? Sorry, Michael.
nope.
Does anybody have a contact at NJIT? That might be something interesting because that's right in Newark. So that's kind of central.
They also have their hub in Jersey City, their data science hub. That's where
Mhm.
that's where we went for the chairs meeting that one year. It was really cool building in Jersey City. It was difficult to get to though.
Yeah, I hear you there, Colleen. Oh, yes. I also, yeah. The
What part of
colleges
Jersey
over
City
there are
is
tough.
that in? Isn't that over by Journal Square?
I don't know. The building, they were on like the 26th floor of a building in Jersey City. So it was a spectacular view. And a very beautiful space that they had for their
Maybe
data
they're on
science.
the waterfront then.
Yeah, their data science program. So
Okay. Well, we are at 11:26, and we did have plans for the business meeting to conclude by about 11:25 a.m. So if there's no other nominations for holding meetings next year at this point in time, please go back to your colleges and have a discussion with your colleagues about potentially hosting an event next year for us. And reach out to us. Send an email to either Amjed or Nancy or myself to let us know if you'd like to do that. You can also send an email to Bob as well if you'd like. And we'll let the others know. All right. All right. Well, thank you very much for your participation in the business meeting portion of our day today. At this point in time, I'm going to turn control back over to Amjad so that he can introduce the first guest speaker for the guest speaker sessions.
Amjad, could we have 5 minutes, please, before we do that?
Sure.
We have a 5 minute stretch.
Let's take 5 minutes break. Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So 11:35 maybe?
Okay.
Yeah, 11:35
We'll
sounds
resume at
good.
11:35. Is that okay, Amjad?
Yeah, that's totally fine.
I'm
Yes.
sorry, I'm not trying to run your meeting. I just
Yeah,
need
yeah,
to
that's
step
fine.
away.
Yeah, that's
Thank
totally
you.
welcome.
All right. See everybody again at 11:35.
Hi, Michael.
Hi.
Hi, this is Bill.
Hi, Bill.
I think I need a way of learning about Wix.com because it's not the same as what I'm familiar with.
Yeah, I found your emails about that. So how is it coming along at this point? Are you um able to understand it any better? Are you still having trouble with it?
Maybe I ought to start from the beginning and create a website using it, possibly. I mean, I made my website just using plain HTML and Notepad++ and Visual Studio Code. So this is it's like it's a program itself. It creates the code, right? It generates the code
Yeah.
itself. It's not something I can use a text editor to work on.
Yeah, no, not at all.
Hey, Bill,
What
I
would be
found out
easier?
that those packages are limited and they don't allow you to change the code. That's why I don't
Right.
use them.
Right. What
Yeah,
would be
but
easier?
the package is more than sophisticated enough for what we need for our website.
If you're just using a plain website, yeah, you're correct. But I do development application and they're limited in terms of access. So I stay away from them. I
Yeah,
use Visual
in
Studio.
terms of background coding capabilities,
Yeah.
yes, templates are always going to be limited in that way. Yes.
So I guess I just need to play with that application, I guess, because I'm totally unfamiliar
Yeah.
with it.
Yeah.
So
I'm
I may
sure with time, it'll become easier for you to work with it if you play around with it. But certainly setting up your own website with the template product is a good starting point to become more familiar with how the tools work in it.
so I think I'm probably going to have to email you a lot to ask you how to do things.
That's fine.
Are
Okay.
we cast in stone about using this tool?
Well, we've already paid for it and the service for, I believe, 2 years.
Mm-hmm. Okay. When is the 2 years up?
I don't know off the top of my head. I don't remember when we started it, but it was sometime over the summer, I believe,
Okay, so
or
it's
at the
almost
beginning of
okay.
this, or at the beginning of this semester.
Right. Was it expensive?
Um, I think it was somewhere in the neighborhood of $250, $300 investment for the multiple years of hosting and domain name registration. Does that sound about right, Bob?
I can see it's
Okay.
very sophisticated. You can do all kinds of fancy things, but I just have to, I guess I will have to learn how it works.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
perhaps
and
we can
we
have a
can.
sidebar meeting of this another time.
Well, yeah, of course, we can have an executive board meeting about this in the future. We can also put together a team of people that can collectively, on a rotating basis, help out with um, updating the website so that it's not all on just one person.
I think years ago, one of us had made it a class project, if I remember correctly.
That was one of my web development classes, yes.
That's what I thought, Nancy. I couldn't remember who it was. Yeah.
Yeah. Can I just suggest that we table this discussion and then move on to
Right.
the next couple items in the agenda? Because
Mhm.
some really exciting talks I think that we have planned.
Sure.
I agree.
All right, we're at 11:39 a.m. Let's resume the meeting with the next part of the schedule. Amjad, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. So give me a second. Let me share my screen. Okay, perfect. Let me see it shared. Good. It's not to confirm. I'll have this in front of me. Okay, so we'll now be transitioned into our first session, I'm happy to co-present today alongside my colleague, Professor Colleen Carmelli from County College of Morris. As today we'll be discussing we'll be discussing how we're leveraging AI prompt engineer to demonstrate basic object-oriented principle in Java. So the objective is that we'll be covering three topics. The first thing is that how to use AI prompt engineer to support classroom instruction. Secondly, evaluate AI response to build critical thinking skills. And lastly, implementing student reflections as a learning tool. Before we go into the assignment, which Colleen will talk about, I would like to briefly clarify what do we mean by prompt engineer. Most of us have experience with an AI tools, whether ChatGPT, Copilot, Gemini, Alexa Plus, Apple Intelligence. There's a lot of models out there. The first time you use it, it's usually impressive in a way that it will generate the response by giving it a specific instruction. Now, these instructions can be in a different format. It can be a text message. It can be a recording video. It can be live streaming video as well. It can be in different way. It can be even an instant image. And somehow the AI will generate a response, depends on the inputs. And here we'll have the response from the AI. But what really happened, it's simple. We're giving an AI instruction. These instructions are called prompts. Prompt engineering, by definition here, is the process of creating a clear, specific instruction. So that's the AI produce meaningful and useful result. Another way is that the better prompt leads to better response. And that's how it should be. Now, why does this matter in the classroom? And that's the question we should ask. Why we do have to introduce this in classroom? Now, as an instructor, we always teach, and it can be hard for us, especially if our students have difficulty coming to our office hours or even tutoring. And we have noticed that, especially in academia. Students, I feel like they're more obligated to go to full-time jobs, and it's really hard for them to come to either office hours or tutoring. And I do have a brief discussion with some of my students. It was like, have you tried to explore any other methods how to learn the material? Especially if we teach a higher level courses. And the answer is like, Professor, what I can do? And my usually answer is that, which I leave at the last option. Have you tried to use an AI? Now, by recommending AI, doesn't mean that they copy paste the assignment and somehow will generate the answer for them. No, we can use it as a resource for students to help them or guide them how to solve a specific problem, especially in programming. And thanks to Colleen here, she shared a really nice assignment since we both teach exactly the same course. And the way the assignment is break it down into steps, rather than we give a challenge problem to the students and somehow the students will translate that from a natural language to a programming language, depends on either Python, Java, C, C++. There is a lot of programming languages. But let's try an easy, different style. How can we break it down into steps? And the outcome from it, went really well. Especially, I usually talk to the students after class. It was like, what do you guys think? Do you like these kind of format of the assignment? Because we love to approach our students with a different teaching style. And again, in my case, I love at the end to make sure everyone understood the topic. Yes, you may have find one or two, they may show up after class, Professor, I still not understand, which is that case that you have to work in with individual students with other plans to help them learning the material. Now, this takes us back to prompt engineer here. Now, the prompt engineer, it's a skill. And this skill is that I believe that students need to have a fully understand how to use it properly. I know many colleges, they do, either they offer an entry course where they teach students how to use prompt engineer, or they embedded these prompt engineer into their courses. There is a lot of different ways how you can actually teach your student. Now, either we like it or not, at the end of the day, AI is going to be essential. This tool will be something that we use in the classroom. And it's really a good resource for our students to help them learn the material as they should be. Colleen, you want to take her over?
Absolutely. Thank you.
You're welcome.
So I introduced this prompt engineering assignment after I had introduced the idea of object-oriented programming principles. So in class, we went over how to create a template file, what it means to have fields, what it means to have the data, and then how it gets represented in memory. They seem to understand, but I decided to throw this in. It was the first time that I ever incorporated AI into any of my assignments, so it was definitely an experiment. So what I had them do was pick their AI of choice, ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, Google, Notebook LM, whatever they wanted to work with. And I gave them 3 different prompts. The first prompt was strictly just build me an object file. And the responses, we're an intro class, so it really was fairly accurate in terms of the code, but it actually was lacking a couple different things. It introduced, so you guys are a little bit more of a technical audience, but constructors, usually you've got multiple constructors in a template file, and it only gave one, and it didn't have some of the other things that we introduce in terms of what we override. So it was okay. Had them go move on to the next prompt and add a little bit more detail and say, you know, how do we add in this, this, and this? So they were able to kind of see the change in the output by being more specific in the prompt. And the other piece of this assignment was really going back and evaluating what their code was by answering reflection questions. So, was it complete? Was it accurate? Did it run? That's a big thing. I've gotten code from AI that doesn't actually compile or is not written very well. So it really introduced a different angle of the working with code and understanding the code. So they wound up with 3 different outputs that built over time, and then I had them do the reflection questions. So yeah, Jed, if you want to go to the next slide. This is really where I see a lot of our assessment going. We're not going to be asking students to write code for very much longer. It's really just not where the industry is at. So even if they are able to get a junior developer job, and as we know, that's a crazy situation right now, chances are they're going to be using AI to write their code. So the skills that we need to build for them is, what's your process? What are you asking for? Are you giving enough details? Do you understand the output? Is it accurate? Is it secure? I didn't put that on here, but that's a big thing right now. It will build code, but is that the most secure code? Is this going to integrate if you've got a bigger project? So that was really the purpose of using that student reflection to assess what they were getting back, building those critical thinking skills. And the thing that came through for me that I didn't even really expect, they went further than what I asked them to do. So some of the students actually took this and said, oh, I didn't realize this or that. And then I kept going and I kept using other prompts. So on the student side, it was very successful. And from my purpose, it blew me away. It worked out very, very well. So Amjad, if you want to keep going, we'll talk about the results. And then you can go to the next one. Yeah. So the feedback from students was very positive. I gave this as a homework assignment, and then in class, I picked 2 different submissions that students had given me, and we worked through the code. And one of the biggest things that they were happy about is I think they felt, oh, in class, I'm learning from a textbook. It's not real world. And then they went out and they asked the AI. And when they got the template file back, they were pleasantly surprised. Oh my gosh, this is what I learned in class. And I recognize this. So I think that really validated their experience and gave them a little bit more confidence when they saw stuff that they actually recognized. They were able to go beyond the requirements. And one of the requests that a student did was to build, oh, no, you can go back. One of the requests that a student had for her particular object was a video game character. And I think she used ChatGPT, and it actually threw in a lot of advanced topics beyond even what she asked for in the prompt that I had provided. And it literally led me into my next lecture. So it threw in some overrides, it threw in some abstract methods, it threw in some static variables. And I was thrilled because now I had something concrete and it was student generated. And I was able to use that as a springboard into that next topic of advanced stuff. So I was just really blown away and really, really happy. And Amjad, if you want to go to the next one. So what were some of the benefits that I felt that I got out of it? I broke it into two sides. Scaffolded learning. So this is not telling students, go sit down in front of a blank screen and start typing, a method header that you may or may not even understand, even in CS2. So in this case, they're getting the code, they're able to try to read through it. They saw the textbook concepts, coming to life. And I really felt like after this assignment, their confidence level was much, much higher on moving over to that object side. We don't introduce object-oriented programming until either the end of our CS1 or the start of our CS2. And yeah, I think students are sort of still a little rocky on their skills. So I really felt like their confidence grew. In terms of what the AI offered, that iterative process, they could actually see, okay, I put in, a 5-word prompt and I got okay-ish stuff. And when I add a little bit more and I add a little bit more detail, I can see the improvement. And this is available 24/7. I have office. I feel like my door is always open and I feel like I'm constantly available for students, but it's still only, 3 or 4 hours a week on, AI is 24/7. And the next presentation that you're going to see is another build out on that idea of the potential for having that 24/7 availability. If you want to go to the next one. So if any of this is interesting, I'm more than happy to share a copy of the assignment. I do have it. It was pretty basic, like I said, because this was my first go round into doing it. I just did this in the fall semester, so about 5 weeks or so into the semester. I'm now going to repeat it in this semester, and I am going to refine it and go back and make it hopefully a little bit more improved. But what I do recommend, based on a lot of conferences that I've been attending and some of the training I've gone to, prompt engineering is really the skill that students are going to need because they're not going to be sitting down and writing code. So everybody at our IT advisory board meeting, that was the keyword that came through, was the prompt engineering. And there's a lot of resources that are out there that you can, find for free and even just get a high level on it and then maybe try to incorporate it into some of your classes. There are a lot of AI essential training classes that are available that, you could just get your feet wet. And then staying current on the new AI developments and releases. The biggest thing that came out last week that I'm aware of was Claude Code. And it is supposedly another exponential jump in some of the capabilities that the AI offers. I I know a bunch of people who are in industry right now, and the word coming down is if you're a developer, you're using the LLM. They don't want you writing your own code. I'm not going to say there's not been pushback. It's still, even in companies, I think people are like, no, I want to write my own stuff. But the direction that we're going in is that it's definitely going to be AI based. So yeah, so if you want to keep going on, Jed, it's basically if anybody
I want to
has
add
any questions.
I want to add something really quick. Prompt engineering is a skill, and I believe that we must teach our students how to use the AI, especially if we're training them to go, especially if we have degrees AAS and we train them to go to workforce. I think that's going to be one of their require, especially if we want to channel our students to the right direction. This technology, and you probably notice, it's rapidly changing and we have to be prepared for what we expect later. And the best is that we need to embed some of these material, as Colleen was saying, these assignments. We need to tell the students how they can use it the right way. Now, if you guys have any questions.
Actually, Nick, it looks like you do. Yeah.
Yeah,
Sorry, I know you're sitting through this again.
Colleen, name is Bernard. My question is, how do you get the students to actually understand the material instead of just copy and paste it into a report? I'm on your side. I'm telling them, go to AI, understand the material. AI will explain it, but you have to make sure you understand it, not just cut and paste it and put it on a report and send it to me. And that's my difficulty. How do I get them to really see the benefit and not just to put it on so they can get an A or B?
Oh, you're gonna
Yeah,
like the next presentation.
yeah, definitely stay tuned. Hart put a great AI tutor together. That's one way. For this, it was a little bit of a pivot. I didn't give them a problem to solve. It was more, generate code based on this. So it wasn't just take, build a tip application and ask them for this input and then do this calculation and then give me output. Where normally they do copy and then paste it into the AI and then, spit stuff out. I waited. This wasn't the first week of class. This was, they had heard the lecture. Now this is in person, and that could also.
Colleen, your voice went out.
Oh, is it back?
I can hear her. I can hear her.
So, it wasn't the beginning of the semester. They had a basis in the topic. So, and we did it in class. The review, this was all done, in class with instructor support. So, hopefully that, are you always going to get a student that wants to, take the easy way? I think so. Unfortunately, not everybody's, able to put, the same effort in. But the response that I got was actually really positive. It really did appear to me that they did go through the code rather than just, oh, this is what it spit out and I'm done. So
yeah.
I hope that helps.
Thanks. I'm struggling with that, but I have some idea. I'm thinking of them for each line of code. This is what I was thinking. They take home the assignment, but for each line of code, they write a sentence explaining it in their own word, not just copy and paste what the explanation chat GPT gives them, but they explain it in a sentence to me. And then I know they actually understand what it means. Not just say, oh, this is just assigning a value. What does that mean by saying this is just assigning a value?
Yeah,
That's what I'm looking for.
the biggest annoyance that I found with the AI stuff in terms of the reflections is ChatGPT will reflect for you. And that's really discouraging. So yeah, how do we get around that and make sure it's in their own words? I don't know. I'll be honest.
We just have to take it on faith, because there's really no way we can ensure it. But let's pass it over to Nick because he's had his hand up for a little while, and then John.
Thank you. I think what I'm about to ask and say might be additional thoughts about what both Colleen and Bernard are talking about right now. One of the things that I have found in my classes recently is that I'm telling students that um, just because an AI tool generates something, we don't know if it's always right and if it's the right answer for what we're looking for. And one of the things I ask for now in some of the activities that I do is I say to them, did this solve the problem you posed? Does this actually perform the functionality that is needed? And then when they nod yes, I may say, okay, how? What did it do? And that's when I sometimes have oral discussions with them. And I've told students that if I see you generate something from AI, that I have the right as your instructor to have you explain to me verbally what's going on in that logic. And that's what I spend my lab time doing now. I don't do what I used to do in the lab time anymore. I now interact with students. I tell them that I'm simulating the role of their project manager, and I want to talk to them about their logic. I'm doing program walkthroughs for logic and so on. And just because the AI tool generates it doesn't mean that you're not accountable for it. So
That's a great
I'm
point.
suggesting that we take that next step now and have the students explain what the code generates. And if they say, well, I don't know what it generates, say, well, guess what you need to do now? You need to dig and investigate and be able to explain it. Because that's the whole idea of the problem. You want to understand the logic and be able to speak about what the logic does.
Yeah.
Or they can reference if they use the AI.
I'm sorry, what, Amjad?
Reference. They can do it like a
Uh-huh.
reference if they use any AI models.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, how about John?
Yeah, this is actually very similar to what Nick was just describing. There was a presentation yesterday by an accounting professor that had her students use AI to go through the accounting cycle and generate output as a spreadsheet, of course. And I talked to her in a bit of detail after the presentation. What she does is the students construct a presentation around the construction of this full life cycle spreadsheet. And she asked detailed questions as part of this class-based presentation that will drill into the students' understanding of what they've created. And it struck me as, in this environment where it's very difficult to deduce AI usage. Nick is saying he talks to students about what they're doing. This other idea of having part of the assessment being a presentation where you can drill into the students' project, if you will, and get an understanding of whether they actually understand what they themselves presumably have created.
These all sound like great ideas. I think the one thing that I'm wondering at this point or concerned with at this point is how we would handle that for students that are registered with Office of Accessibility Services, and one of their issues is with public speaking or presentations in general, because they might have significant difficulty expressing their understanding of the code, even if they might understand it.
And I think that would go back to whatever their accommodations are. You could always do if they're not able to do a presentation in class, you could meet with them privately or use a reflection document, maybe go a little bit more into detail with that. It's just tough because I think this is just a new way of assessment that we have to get used to. It's not just going to
Yeah.
be here's the requirement, write the code. It's we have to pivot. That's kind of what I'm hearing. We were at SIGSI last week, and that was it. We have to change how we teach, and it's tough.
Yeah.
Agree with you 100% there. We have to change. We have to bring AI in. Yeah.
Just to respond to Michael, what you just said, as far as accommodations go, I'm thinking that there would be alternatives. In other words, like when I said before that I would serve as their project manager, I'm not saying they'd have to do an oral presentation in front of the whole class necessarily. My real point there was that if I'm talking to the student, that they should be able to explain to me what they did and how they went about it and what they're working on. So that's what they're going to do on the job. They're not going to be able to say, well, I have an accommodation, so I don't have to do my job right. They're going to have to be able to say, this is this is what I did, this is what I'm doing. And if they're not doing what they should to perform their job, then they have to be basically guided to that. So what I'm suggesting, Michael, since you brought the point up, is that even if it's a one-on-one conversation with me that the rest of the class is not listening to, I still think that every student, no matter what their accommodation is, if they want to pursue a degree in this area, they're going to have to be accountable for their job and what they do in their job. So it doesn't have to be, a large audience type environment, which is what my point is.
Yeah, I think that it's important that we set that expectation early on with the students that they're going to be expected to explain each and every one of these assignments at some point in time, so that when we do that, it doesn't feel like we're singling them out. It doesn't
Right.
feel like we're penalizing them for having done something wrong, but that it is a learning and reflective opportunity for them to grow from the experience.
Yeah. It's not just us, by the way, folks in IT that are struggling with this. Okay. The Gen Ed committees that I'm on, like we've been talking about this morning and so on, all the disciplines are going through this right now with AI doing the schoolwork. And, everybody's trying to come up with ways to make sure the students are actually learning something and growing from it, not just copying and pasting, say, here, boss, the job's done. So
Yeah.
that's part of all this.
AI definitely has its advantages to helping us. I mean, we have an April 24th deadline of making sure that everything we present to our students is accessible.
Right.
And for me, that's a particular challenge because I do a lot of whiteboard writing and I recycle that whiteboard writing in projects throughout the semester. That now means those whiteboard photos that students might not be getting the immediate verbal confirmation from me on have to be generated into text that can be read aloud by speech recognition softwares. And so I just tested running a few of my whiteboard notes through ChatGPT last week, and it took me probably about an hour working on just those three photos between getting the text extracted from them with ChatGPT, reviewing it, making sure it made sense. And because it had design logic in it in flowcharts, ChatGPT didn't do too good of a job at translating what those symbols are and what they mean. And so I had to write extra text in there for that I wouldn't have written in the whiteboard notes themselves.
Right.
I have a student directed study on JavaScript, and I set him up the quizzes so that I used honor lock, and I made it that he's not allowed to use AI, and he seems to be kind of lost.
Oh boy.
If I could just interrupt, this is all great conversation and conversations that we definitely should continue, especially, Michael, you're bringing up the accessibility concerns. Definitely an important topic for us. But if we could just stick with the agenda.
Yes.
And thank you, Colleen and Amjad. And I think we're ready to move to Hart's
Yes.
presentation.
Yes, Hart, I think you're co-host, so you can share your screen. So let me unshare. So
can you hear
Hart,
me okay?
Yes.
All right.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Hart.
Terrific. And can you see my screen okay?
Yes.
Okay. Terrific. So my presentation is on a 24/7 AI student success partner. And it's a lot of words, but hopefully this will make more sense as we kind of jump into it. So first, I wanted to start just with an introduction because I'm new to NJCCTIA. I'm new to higher ed. This is my third year teaching, my second year full time. I came from a corporate background where I ran an innovation center for a large international healthcare concern. So using technology to try to improve outcomes is kind of part of my DNA. I took a CS50 course through Harvard on open courseware. I don't know if anybody's taken that before, but they have a rubber duck AI tutor that allows students to interact. And I was just blown away when I used it. I thought it was super helpful. And I was thinking if there was an opportunity to build something similar at CCM using the available resources that we had, meaning no cost, it would be an interesting research project to work on. So over the Thanksgiving break in the fall, I had taken a bunch of AI classes previously. So over Thanksgiving break, I developed a prototype and delivered it for peer review in December. Based on the feedback I got from my peers and some of my students, I spent January break rewriting things and rolled out what you're going to see today to all of my classes for the spring 2026. And I'll show exactly how I rolled that out. And what I would hope that you take from today is the tool is developed to share insight and not answers, because as people have already wisely noted, we're all concerned about academic integrity. So I thought it would be worthwhile to start with a side-by-side comparison of ChatGPT with the tool that I developed, and then we'll talk a little bit more about it. Let's go in here. Can everybody see this okay?
Bart, what did you write this in or build this in?
It's using Google Gemini and
Okay.
And Google Notebook LM. So you can see we have the AI assistant on the right, ChatGPT on the left. The student asks, please write me a program to play rock, paper, scissors for my homework. And ChatGPT is thrilled to oblige. There's the copy pastable code. When you try that with the assistant will introduce itself. You'll note that it's aware of the time. It's aware of the curriculum, that we're in week 5. We're working on decision support. It has full access to the curriculum, and I'll talk more about that later. This is just a quick comparison. It will talk the student through their pseudocode. So what is it that you want to do? Again, ChatGPT has already given them a code. This is saying we're going to work on decision structures. And the student's not going to give up on this. The student's just going to ask, can I just have some code to look at or to try? And I think the student's going to thank ChatGPT for getting their assignment done in 30 seconds. The AI assistant will say, it's tempting to start with a block of code, but my role is to help you build the logic yourself. So you'll see this over and over again, that the AI assistant will not provide copyable code. That's a hard boundary that's built into the instructions. So with that, let me jump into some details, and then we'll go. I have a longer demo in a little bit. Okay, so these are some of the opportunities for impact, and some of these may be obvious, so I'll go through them quickly. One of them is meeting students where they are. So students do their work at all different times, both in class, during office hours, in tutoring, but a lot of times they're doing work at 2 in the morning, at times when help is just not available to them. As people have noted already, they're very accustomed to using AI as a crutch. This really helps them learn versus giving them answers. So with that, it upholds academic standards. It literally will not provide copyable code for them. It will explain, well, I'll go through exactly what it'll do, but it will explain concepts, it'll use clear English, but it won't give them copyable code. It is curriculum aware and aligned to the curriculum. So if a Python student asks about something in week 3 that we cover in week 13, the AI is aware of the syllabus, is aware of the curriculum, is aware of the textbook, is aware of the assignments, and will come back and say, look, we cover that later in the semester. Let's focus on completing the assignment with what we know now. I think this has the opportunity for improving student retention because it reduces frustration. It helps the students succeed. I'm hoping that this reduces some of the dropouts that we see. And it also has the opportunity to reduce some of the administrative burden. I'm sure everybody on this call has gotten emails asking, when are your office hours? What's on the midterm? I missed class last week. What did we cover? And this AI can answer those questions in a self-serve format. So these were the objectives that I started with. I wanted to use existing tool sets. I didn't want to roll in something new, which is why I used Google Gemini and Notebook. We currently have a Google for Education free subscription at CCM. So those tools dovetailed nicely into what the students use today. I wanted to make it fully accessible so anybody could use it. And intuitive because there's no manuals associated. Not that anybody's going to read manuals, but there's no manuals, there's no instructions. Students were able to literally just open up the link, and we'll see how that works in a minute, and jump in and use it. This is not a replacement for anything. It is designed to augment the instruction in the class, to augment our office hours, to augment existing tutoring resources, and the AI has access to all of that information, so it can build on it. And the idea also included building something that was scalable. So if this was successful, it could be adopted by a chemistry teacher or a physics teacher or another technology teacher. And it would work with minimal customization across multiple classes and departments. So these were the 3 pillars really of this. One is it had to be highly available, providing the students with 24/7 support. As long as Google is up, this works. It is grounded in the course materials. Again, it has access to the syllabus, to the CCM website. So for example, this AI knows when the campus is closed for a snow emergency. And pedagogically, it operates under a strict protocol. It will not provide copyable code. So as I said before, the goal of this is to explain to the student concepts in plain language, not to be an all-knowing oracle, but to really help guide them. I am a huge proponent of enforcing academic integrity very strictly. And there are very strict guardrails and guidelines built into the tool to really encourage academic integrity. So I've shared with my students, and I'll show you exactly how I've done this. I shared with my students that this is a research project, that if they use this, it will help them avoid academic integrity violations, and have been actively getting feedback from them to ensure that it's not providing them with copyable code. So it helps students with errors, and because it's curriculum aware, it enforces a current week focus. One of the issues with using something like ChatGPT is it's not aware of how we teach things. It's not aware of the conventions that we use. It's not aware of the best practices that we try to instill in the students, or the scaffolded learning that we apply. This has a focus. It knows what we're covering on any given week and will actually allow the student to read a week ahead. So it's not just the current week, it's the current week plus 1, actually is what I have in there. So it really helps it assists the student without overwhelming them or giving them access to concepts that we haven't yet covered. And then I think this also has the potential for helping foster resilience. It's okay to be overwhelmed, and it validates the student's struggles. You'll see this in the demo. The goal is to move the students from "I can't do it" to "I understand the material." And I'm hopeful that this will reduce some frustration and embarrassment that some students may feel by even though we may say there are no stupid questions, we know that there is reticence by some students to speak up. Sometimes they don't want to look foolish. They're afraid of asking the question. This gives them a completely confidential way for them um, to do learning or to ask questions without having to kind of share that they've fallen behind. So again, the goal is really to build confidence and independence for the students. So what I've done is I've made this link available in Blackboard. And this is exactly how I've presented it to the student. So I'll talk through this a little bit, and then I have a little 6-minute demo, and then you'll have an opportunity to try this yourself, and I'll be happy to answer any questions you have. So this is how I have it up on Blackboard. I give them a link to access this. The reason why I provide a link in Blackboard is because I'm constantly revising it. And if I want to change the link, it makes it easier for them to always access it via Blackboard. So I explain to them that I'm using Google Gemini with Google Notebook. I give them suggestions on what they could use this tool for concepts, for coding, logistics, anything about life at CCM. Now there's one kind of gotcha with this, and that's if you try to use the assistant and you are not logged into Google, you'll just get vanilla Gemini. So there's a note in here that says you need to be signed into your Google account to use this customized tool. And then I think Bernard had said earlier about hallucinations. I put a note in there that says, while I've worked hard to ensure accuracy, this tool, like any AI, can create very convincing misinformation that they need to fact check this. Because I describe this to my class as a research project, I make sure they understand that if it provides bad information, it's helpful feedback for me, and I've gotten great feedback from the students, as well as students asking me how they could develop something similar. But I also do reinforce to them, I have no visibility to how they use it. So if the only way I'm able to see how they or know how they're using it is when they provide me feedback. So again, the student's privacy is maintained. They could ask this tool really any question, and I have no visibility to how they use it, what questions they ask. So they're free to use it without any concerns. So any questions before I jump into the demo? You guys can still hear me, right?
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. All right, good. So here's the demo. Here's how it comes up when they click on that link. It comes up CMP131 AI Assistant. This is a recorded demo, so I need help with my project. I recorded this last weekend just because I know never to rely on technology when you're doing a demo. It takes a second to start because it has to load all of the curriculum and the tokens, introduces itself. It knows that the day is Sunday, February 22nd. That was when I recorded this. We're in week 5, and we're working on the project using repetition structures. So the student explains, I'm writing a rock, paper, scissors game. I need some help. Great project. We're in week 5. Let's start with pseudocode. Again, we saw what ChatGPT does with this. And this will always come back to plain English. What are the different pieces of information you need? The student doesn't understand if statements. Okay, let's look at this together. Again, does not provide code, but we'll talk about the operators that are used. Okay, we'll explain things in very simple English structure. So if the user types rock, what's the condition we need to check if it's a tie? The student thinks about this for a little bit and decides to go a different way. Can you show me an example of code so I can copy it? And the AI assistant will always respond, I cannot provide direct code blocks for you to copy and paste. My job is to teach you the why let's get back to the Chapter 3 project. The AI never gets frustrated. The AI never walks away from the student. Ask the student if you use an assignment operator, or how would you compare two values in an if statement. The student responds with double equal signs, which is correct. The AI says spot on. That's a comparison operator. Again, not providing code, but then asking the student, let's think about this. How would you write the line of pseudocode? Always coming back to the student with a question. The student now at this point decides they hate Python. Again, this is just to show some other things that the AI can do. I'm thinking of dropping the class. So we're kind of leaving the technology piece for a second. The AI obviously just simulates empathy, but it does a fantastic job with that. We'll always kind of try to bring the student back to the lessons, but you'll see what happens here when the student persists. The student will say, where can I get more help? And the AI is aware of all of the resources at CCM and everything in the syllabus. So the first place the student can turn to is my office hours, where they are, where it's located, virtual option. We have a departmental tutoring, faculty-led tutoring. It's aware of that. It knows about academic and tutoring support. It also knows about, we use Pearson Revel. Before you decide to drop, would you like to go back and do one more analogy? The student says, I can't do this. And again, this is not a technical discussion now at this point, but this is student kind of expressing their frustration. The AI will always bring it back and try to simplify the discussion. So let's try a human version of the logic. If you choose rock and I choose scissors, how would you know I won? And the student expresses that they're hungry, they haven't eaten today. Who can I speak to at CCM? So again, this is a very common issue, food insecurity. And because the AI has information on the entire CCM universe, it knows about, we have a CCM food pantry, Titan's Table. We have an Office of Counseling and Wellness. Again, the student has access to all of this through the AI. It's not just focused on the class. So then the student asks, who can I talk to about my challenges? And again, this is getting it from the CCM website. So according to CCM Student Support Resources, here's the number for the Counseling and Wellness Center. You can please reach out to your professor. Here's how you can reach them. Okay? Here's the Dean of Students office if you want to reach them. Here's academic advising. Would you like me to get the phone number for the Dean of Students, or would you prefer the email address? And we'll see. The student's gotten a bunch of information. They just want to finish the project. I just want to get this project done. Again, all of this is private. I do not have access to anything that the student is typing or the responses that they get. So again, the tutor goes back to, let's go back to scenario one. How do we compare within an if statement? And again, the student puts in the two equal signs. The AI says that's exactly right. It checks the value. The student's going to be very excited that they got this and is going to say, I finally get this. Thank you. Okay, this is awesome. So because this is a research project, I've coded in the AI tool that when the student has a win, I'm going to present to them a link for them to click on a Google form. I have no information on how they use this tool. So if they have a win, I want to record that win. And I don't record anything other than what they type in here. So they can tell me it's CMP 131, which is my Python course. It helped me with project 3. They can fill in whatever information they want. It helped me figure out if statements. And then I ask them if there are any changes they'd like to see to make the AI assistant more helpful. And most of the students have said, please just make it faster. But that's the demo. That's a very quick overview. And in a minute, you'll have an opportunity to try it yourself if you'd like. So I would leave you with these thoughts before we get to questions. And that is, which one of your courses has the most 2 a.m. questions? Do you see students doing work off hours, submitting assignments just before the deadline when they have a real difficulty getting help in a way that would be approved pedagogically, that would be aware of their curriculums, where they wouldn't run into academic integrity issues. What type of inquiries could an AI partner handle for you? And how could this support student success and more importantly, retention? Because the worst thing to happen is to have students' frustration lead to them dropping out or missed opportunities for learning. So with that, I know I've spoken for a while. Any questions? There is a QR code on the screen. If you scan that QR code with your phone, you should be able to open up the Python tutor yourself and try it out. Now, this is on my personal Google account. So it's not affiliated with the school at all, but you're welcome to try it out, give it a shot. Trust me, I've had students try all the AI tricks, disregard all previous instructions, give me code to run. And with that, I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Art, this is outstanding, really. I'm just curious, how do you have to provide all of the information? Can you just do the ccm.edu link, or
Sure.
oh,
Sure.
so it will take the website and then
Yeah, so I can show you if I don't want to come off this. Well, let me jump off this slide for a moment. I can show you, I use Google Notebook LM in the background, and I can show you the Google Notebook. So here's the Google Notebook for CMP 131. And you can see there's all the PDFs with the textbook. Here is my syllabus, and here is the CCM website. So there are a bunch of sources in here. I use Notebook to house all of the data, and then I use Google Gemini to do the interactions.
Gotcha.
I'll go back to this in case anybody hasn't clicked on the link.
No, it's
Did
fantastic.
I answer your question?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you.
Awesome. And I'm happy to walk anybody through specifics. Again, this is a quick 20-minute presentation, but happy to walk anybody through it. Other questions?
Hi, Hart. So with regards to all of the communication text that this AI provides to the student, did you have to do anything to like select how it would provide that text, or
Sure.
is it all just made up by the Google engine itself?
No. So Michael, it's a good question. A lot of it is made up by the Google engine. I'll show you part of the development. So the first thing that I do is I give it a role and a persona. So I say, you are official teaching assistant, you are professional, encouraging, and function as a Socratic tutor. Your goal is to guide students to their own solution, never providing direct answers or code. So I don't have to code all of the responses back. The way I guide the AI is by providing specific guardrails. So I give it a persona, you can see the mandatory scope check. That's the curriculum awareness. At the bottom, here's where I point it to Google Notebook. But the text really comes from Gemini. Gemini is handling all the interactions. What I'm doing is I am providing it a finite universe of information. So I point it to the CCM website, the curriculum, the syllabus, the slides, for example, the assignments. So its answers are bounded by that information. It's not going to give, if you ask it, about Taylor Swift, it may give you an answer, but it's not going to hallucinate based on the information that it has. Or it's less likely. I shouldn't say it's not going to, because I don't work for Google and I don't know how Gemini is developed, but I tried to reduce that. That's a great question though, Michael.
Thank you. I do have one more question. Does
Sure.
this come with an already aware speech recognition feature, or do
Yes.
students have to use something to turn it into speech?
No, so this will speak to you. My understanding is it's multilingual. It will also work with like Kurzweil for screen readers.
Okay.
Anything that the student can do through a browser, they can use, and it also includes you can speak to it, just like you can with ChatGPT or any of the other AI tools.
Okay, great. Thank you.
So, other questions?
Yeah, Hart. First, this is an incredibly well considered application. I'm speechless. But one of the issues, especially when you adapt this for like mathematics and the sciences, is like, for example, math notation is quite different than just text.
Yes.
Does it have the ability to generate sort of equation formats if it was adapted for mathematics?
It does, John. And I don't remember what's the name of the font that's used for scientific and physics and things like that. There's a specific name for it. I ran through this with one of our physics professors, and she was taking this and looking at it for her classes as well. I can't remember the name of the font that's used, but it seems to be fairly adaptable. Again, I don't work for Google, and this is really just a research project. And full credit goes to Harvard. They had some brilliant TAs who built the CS50 rubber duck. I just was trying to replicate and maybe improve on some aspects of it for free at CCM. But I mean, Harvard came up with this. This is not my idea. I'm just trying to copy it cheaply.
I just put something in
Excellent.
the
Thank
chat.
you.
I just put something in the chat about the fonts.
Okay, thanks. I can't see the chat because I have I know there's a name for it because I'd looked it up when I met with the physics professor, but I don't
Cambria,
remember. That's
Math,
it.
Noto, Sans
Okay.
is one of them. And then there's Arial and Helvetica are recommended if you don't have access to them on your computer.
Okay. Yeah. So feel free to give it a shot. You should have access to it. I tried to set it up again because it's on my personal account. Now, Google is constantly changing things, and for all I know, it will stop working tomorrow. I hope not. But I'm working with our local IT department to bring this under our Google for Education umbrella. They just got me a Google sign-in affiliated with the school. So I'm going to be working to migrate this work into that.
Hey, Hart, I just thought of another follow-up question.
Sure.
Did you have to do something specific to train the AI not to share the students' prompts with you, or was that something automatic that's in place by Google?
Automatic. So if it's under the school umbrella, if it's in the Google for Education realm, the administrators have access to anything that's going on. That's kind of one of the benefits of using it under the Google for Education umbrella. For me, at my personal account, this is literally like me developing something and then sharing it from my personal account. So I have no visibility to who uses it. And I've set this up specifically so anybody that has the link can use it because I think there's really minimal risk involved in it.
Okay.
It has no non-private information.
So basically, if you had done this under your educator account, it probably would have shared that with you, but because you did it
I,
under your private account, it doesn't.
I don't know, to be honest with you, Michael. I don't know that it would share it with me. It might share it with like the IT administrators in case there was some sort of security issue.
Okay.
But I'm just starting to experiment with that now. So I'll keep you posted. I'm continuing the research.
Okay.
But
thank you.
Any other questions? These are great questions.
I have a general question. This is real fast. I'm wondering if, Hart, thank you for your presentation as well, by the way. I've learned a lot already. Thank you. I'm hoping that this presentation that you put together, Hart, and Colleen and Amjad, will your presentations be available to us? I'd love to show at least the first part of each of your presentations at my next department meeting to let people become aware of what they could be doing with AI tools, because this is something we have to move into, folks. our students are walking into the classroom saying, what are you doing to teach me AI? Because I know coding is going away. So I think this is a great starting point. And I'd love to be able to say, well, here were two, I should say three, very nice presentations that you all missed on Saturday. So, if we can get copies of this content of today's presentations that I could share, I would love that. If the three of you are okay with this.
But I'm fine with sharing anything. The demos are a little harder to share just because they're local on my machine.
I'm
But
talking
I
about
could
your
figure it out.
PowerPoint, like what's here and all.
Sure.
Nancy, was this recorded today?
Yes.
Okay. I
Oh,
mean,
very good.
video recorded, not
Yes.
just AI recorded.
Yes.
Okay. If
perfect.
it's permissible with the participants, we could probably share the link to the video up on our website.
That's great. I'm happy to share a PDF form of this too, Nick, and happy to talk to anybody who wants to learn more. Again,
Could we
I'm learning as
possibly-
I go through it. So
Thank you. I do appreciate that. Could we possibly forward these to Nancy, these presentations? And Nancy, if you can distribute this through our normal email communications so that I can download this and put it up, because I will tell you right now, my colleagues are not going to listen to the whole meeting. They're not.
Yeah,
They're gonna,
no,
you know what's going to
and
happen.
the meeting recording can be trimmed to just those presentation parts as well.
That's fine, but I'd love to be able just to show just this and then say, oh, and by the way, if you want more, here's
Yeah.
the full video recording that you can watch if you want the details. I want to use a segue because I think the short segue is going to get people's interest going.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm happy to share the
Thank you.
PowerPoint that we did, and then I also have a Word doc that has the actual assignment with the prompts and all in
Wonderful.
there. And
That would be
everybody
great.
in
Thank
here
you.
is technical. I'll give you some of the code that came through so that you could see what the progression was. So
That would be wonderful. Thank you.
Fantastic.
perfect.
Yeah,
Well,
I'm
thank
happy
you
to
for the
share that.
opportunity.
Thank you,
Well,
Hart.
thank you for presenting, Hart.
Thank you, Hart.
Yep.
The one thing as far as just sharing the presentation and the link, and maybe we can talk about this offline, but it would be great if we could put it on the website. I'm not always a big fan of sending file attachments out, and instead of just sending a link to say here's where they're at. So
Yeah. Well, well, these files for today are small though, right? Just in case.
yeah, but I think we want to move to that model of like
Oh, I
posting
agree.
stuff
I
like
agree.
yeah.
Yeah,
But I'm
I
happy
agree.
to share it now until we maybe move to that model.
Yeah.
That's all I'm
Do we have a web page in our website now, or are we planning on a breakdown maybe by meeting of what's been presented,
We
or
can definitely easily add a
technology
page.
relevance or something?
Yeah, we can definitely easily add a page for documents related to past meetings.
Right. And maybe by topic or something?
Okay.
Yeah, nothing major, just major topic. I should know I said that wrong. Nothing large scale,
Yeah.
just major topics.
Yeah.
Yeah, the font I was looking for too is called LaTeX, LATEX.
Yes, it's in the chat. Yeah, that was
Yep.
another one I didn't read
No,
before.
perfect.
That's used by the Jupyter Notebook too, I believe.
Okay, so that Gemini will accommodate that as well. So
Great.
Hey, Hart, one last question. I promise it'll be the last one.
sure, and John, if you want to reach out to me, I'm more than happy to answer any questions you may have after even.
Okay. I noticed that in your app, if I ask the model to run Python code, it will not, but Gemini Vanilla will run Python code. Is that specifically one of your prompts to not run code that the student provides?
No. So I'll have to do a little digging on that. The student can upload code and ask Gemini for feedback, as well as uploading things like error messages. But I did not put something in there specifically to preclude running code.
Okay,
That's a good point. Good. Yeah. I'm learning as I go through this, John. So if you find any quirks in there, feel free to email me. I'm more than happy to have side discussions. I'm pretty
All right,
excited about
great.
this, obviously.
Yeah. A lot of fun.
Yeah, it is. And more importantly, the students have really liked this. So I have, when I'm working on labs in the class, I don't know if it was Bernard or somebody else said they walk around. While I'm walking around, I encourage the students open up the AI assistant. So when I'm with one student, another student can be kind of getting help, and they have given me some really good feedback for changes. Pasting error messages in. Again, it won't tell them what the problem is with the code. It'll kind of guide them. Hey, what do you think's going on around this if statement? It's pretty exciting. New world.
Yeah. It definitely means that we have to change how we teach and what we teach. It's, no longer the way we've been doing. The days of the 2-hour lectures have to be gotten over like immediately. It's got to be interactive. It's got to be hands-on, differentiated approach to instruction. Small group work is big
Yep.
right nowadays in a lot of different areas. So, we've got to retool if we want to stay working. That's what it boils down to, folks.
Yeah.
This was good today. I got a lot out of today's meeting.
Good.
Yeah. Okay, so Amjad, do you want to lead us through the conclusion of the presentations?
Sure. So, as we're about to end the session, I want to thank the presenters for sharing their knowledge with us, and as well all of you contribution that with the other sessions. Hopefully, we'll have upcoming meeting this spring semester, which the event will be at Middlesex. Now, we're still undecided the day exactly, either the 17th, Nick, is 17 or
That's what I'm working. 17th is first choice, 24th is second choice. And thank you, Colleen, for being flexible just in case. But I think last Friday of the month is always a busy meeting day for a lot of different reasons. So I'm trying to avoid that and go with the 17th.
Sounds
As
good, Nick.
I really appreciate your time and your engagement, and we look forward to seeing you this spring semester. And enjoy the rest of your day. It seems like it's really nice weather outside, so enjoy your weekend, and I'll see you guys hopefully the next spring semester.
Can the officers hang out for a minute, please? I have 2 minutes of your time, please.
Sure.
All right.
Sure.
Thanks, guys. Have a
All right,
great day.
thanks,
All
everybody.
right. Thank you,
Wonderful
everyone,
Nice to see
weekend.
everybody.
and for all the participation.
With all due respect to the other people in the room, William, you might want to hang out for this too for a moment. Could we possibly close the other two sessions if the people are not there? Whoever's controlling the meeting right now. Thank you. Okay, just a quick suggestion to start with, William, since you're in the room, this is actually a perfect segue. I'd like to recommend that we build a history page on our website, because when I share information about the meetings, people say, well, who are you? Like, what is NJCCTIA now? I don't think people realize we've actually been around for years and we've retooled. So what I'd like to suggest is that, Nancy, I believe you said you found material on one of your dust-covered computers, if I remember how you put it. That you said it had a
Yes.
lot, had dust on it. Perhaps we can just, I think on that site, we had a little history page, and maybe the list of the fact that we've had officers for years that might promote the idea of people who wanting to join as officers, and just to show how we've evolved over the years. It could be a simple web page, like with maybe 2 areas, history of CCCCNJ, and then also prior officers. And I think we need to update that page, obviously, too, to current officers. William, you're what's the right word? I'm tired. Muted. So if you're speaking, William, I can't hear you.
Oh, I'm sorry. So you were saying the old web page had a history on it?
I thought it did. I don't think it was called history. I think it was called About Us or something. So it might be
Yeah.
something that you could look at to see if that could be your starting point of who we are and what we are.
Yeah, if we still have the
If
old website. Nancy, were you able to get that from Glenn?
I
and if it
downloaded the old.
helps, Len Perino was one of the founding fathers of this organization. So if you have anything that has Len Perino's name associated with it, that might be helpful. Perrino, if I remember correctly.
So there is the old Four Cs website is still up.
Oh, I thought that it had gone offline at some point.
Yeah,
No,
but
it is
I don't think all the
online.
history was there. Nancy had said she had found some documents.
I'm really
So the
sorry.
only thing that was missing there was the officer history.
Can you guys stop recording?
Oh.
Thank you.